Hello everyone, how are you doing? Good, I hope. So, Marvel Rivals was recently announced, and since comic book themed video games are one of my specialties, I wanted to make a video on it. And since I also like fanboying about comic book stuff, I figured a character wishlist would be a fun way to do both at the same time. Before we get started, I just want to say I'll be avoiding more obvious picks like Wolverine, Captain America, and Thor, because let's be real, they're 100% coming to the game at some point. We've already got members of the Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy on the base roster, so any other members from those teams are more of a when they're coming to the game rather than an if, you know? That being said, the X-Men are fair game. I know what I said, I literally just said it. However, I love the X-Men, and even though there are already a few X-Men in the roster, it's my video and I'm gonna take any, and I mean any, chance to talk about the X-Men, okay? I love the X-Men. Anyway, with that out the way, let's get started. To the surprise of no one, Dr. Doom is my first pick. Fun fact, as I was researching for this video, I found out that Dr. Doom was mentioned to be the main villain of the game's story. So while he is less likely to be a playable character now, I already started on this, and truthfully, I'm too much of a Doom fanboy to not talk about him here, so we're gonna go through with it anyway. I can see Dr. Doom being a DPS or support character, kinda like a mixture of what Iron Man and Doctor Strange seem to play like. He could use Magic Blast for his primary weapon attack, and then for his abilities, I could see him summoning Doombots as turrets to place around the map. Maybe they could also patrol around the map on like key points. I don't know, that might be a little too overpowered, but would it suit Doom? Yeah. Alternatively though, this is not in the script, I was just thinking this mechanic might work better for Ultron, but we're going to ignore that for right now. Anyway, Dr. Doom's ultimate attack, I honestly have no idea what it could be, I'm just kind of winging this part. I was originally thinking it could be the ultimate nullifier, but that would suit Reed Richards way more, and if they ever add him to the game, that's what his should be. So, it could just be an EMP that disables abilities. There we go. Side note here, I doubt it would actually happen, but it'd be really funny if he had hidden missiles and his foot dive from Marvel vs. Capcom's abilities. I highly doubt it, but it would be really funny though. If you've been following the channel for a while now, you probably know that Moon Knight is one of my favorite Marvel characters. So, yet again, a bit of a biased pick here, but also probably not a shocking one. He'd obviously be more melee-based than everyone else considering, you know, it's Moon Knight. With maybe his secondary attack being a ranged crescent dart throw. As for his specific abilities, you could have one that lowers all incoming damage by half. I don't know though, that was the only way I could really think to translate his whole tanking punches thing into an actual ability for this game. Anyway though, for his ultimate, it'd be sick if Khonshu showed up and summoned the moon. What would the moon do, you ask? I have no idea. It looks sick though. You know, this video is making me realize I am more of a style over function person. I just think that would look sick, yet I have no idea what it could possibly do. I don't know, poison damage. There we go. Alright, baby, I'm gonna be crystal clear. Modok is the entire reason I'm making this video. That's right, I saw the trailer and immediately thought, man, they should add Modok to this, and bam, now we're here. Unironically, Modok is easily one of my favorite comic book villains of all time. In my eyes, he's just perfect. Like, look at him. He's just perfect. There's like not a single design flaw. He is just beautiful. Anyway, enough of that. He'd probably be a tank or support class, and honestly, the more I think about it, the more I just want Modok to have his Marvel vs. Capcom 3 moveset translated into a hero shooter gameplay style. So he'd be able to fly, he'd use a psionic blast for his primary attack, missiles for his secondary. You could even have a move where he shoots a teammate and buffs them TF2 medic style. And then his passive could be something akin to seeing enemy ability cooldowns or something, I don't know. Truthfully, I really do not care how he plays, I just want him in. So Marvel, if you're seeing this, give me Modok, please, I beg of you, give me Modok! While, don't get me wrong, I do like the Living Laser. I really doubt anyone watching this has heard of him. As far as I know, his last appearance in anything outside of comic books was the Iron Man VR game. Huh. I honestly didn't even know that was a thing. Anyway, I put him on here less because he's someone I'd like in, and more because I had a really sick idea for a gameplay thing for him. So hear me out. His primary attacks would be, you guessed it, lasers. But for one of his abilities, he could turn himself into the laser and guide it. I'm kind of thinking how the Blight from Dead by Daylight plays with a mixture of the remote control Batarang from the Arkham games. Never thought I'd use those two together as a comparison, but you get the idea. Honestly, I have no idea what the rest of him would play like. I'd imagine probably a support character. But we rarely see any Iron Man villains in anything nowadays, so I kind of felt obligated to put at least one on the list. Okay, technically two if you count Modok. I've never really talked about it here, but I love the Silver Surfer. And since this list is mostly filled with villains, I need to throw in another hero or two. I can see him being a support class, as him being a healer fits with his character. His primary attack would be firing energy blasts, with his main ability being able to heal teammates. As for his ultimate attack, I don't really have anything like definitive, but I could see him maybe summoning Galactus and Galactus doing something. That or a big power cosmic laser, I don't know. I feel like the Silver Surfer has the best chance out of anyone on the list to be in the game, since Galactus is playing a pivotal role here. But other than that, that's all I really have to say about the Surfer. This one is a bit shorter than all the other ones, but whatever. Anyway, on to the next one. Alright, so I'm kind of lumping these ones together for the sake of time, but I really think a symbiote character is practically a lock. My only question is, which one? Eddie Brock Venom is obviously the most likely pick, because, you know, he's the most popular, with Carnage just slightly behind him. Both of them are fan favorites and probably the two most popular symbiotes. However, I've got a gut feeling, a hunch even, that we're gonna get Agent Venom as the first symbiote. I can't describe why, there's just something about him that screams hero shooter. He'd fit in strangely well. His attacks would probably just be guns. He'd probably do some symbiote things for his abilities. I don't know, maybe a giant tentacle. Just kind of think the abilities from Spider-Man 2, but in like an Apex Legends kind of format. You know what I mean? Personally, I would prefer Carnage or Eddie first. Mainly Carnage. I love that wacky dude. Look at him. He's great. Anyway, but there's just something, right? There's just like a gnawing feeling that it's going to be Agent Venom. There's something about this game and Agent Venom that just kind of click in my mind, you know? I'm gonna be honest, this one is going to be fairly straightforward. The reason he is in is I just really like Colossus. He's my favorite X-Men member. Anyway, he'd be a tank and another punch-hard character like Hulk. He could have an ability that makes him more durable or something, I don't know. But there is one thing I do know, and it's the main reason he's on here. So, in the trailer, there's these team-up moves, right? Like, Hulk does the thing to Iron Man, he goes pew, and Rocket jumps on Groot. And would you look at that? Colossus happens to be a character that is associated with the best team-up moves of all time. Depending on another character's size, he should 100% have an ability where he does the fastball special and throws them across the stage. It'd be amazing. In fact, pair Colossus with Wolverine when they drop, right? Have them in the same update. Do it, please. Let me throw my friend across the stage. Yeah, we've looped back around to me talking about my favorite Marvel characters. I wasn't lying when I said this video was a poorly disguised excuse for me to fanboy. Anyway, Taskmaster would probably be a DPS character. His primary attack would be his sword, with his secondary either being a cap-style shield throw, or him holding up his shield to block attacks. His abilities would obviously be him copying the other characters, and while I do know that Loki's ult does the exact same thing, Taskmasters could be a less powerful and more like overall usable version. I'd imagine it'd have a lower cooldown than Loki's ult, but it'd really only let him copy one of the abilities instead of the whole character. Anyway, I'm biased towards Tasky, so he was a lock from the start. I just didn't want to put him with the others. But man, this wishlist is mainly villains, isn't it? Apocalypse is just... He's so cool. If you know him, then you already know why he's on my wish list. The dude has so many options when it comes to potential abilities. You could do nearly anything for his abilities, and it'd more than likely fit the character. Size manipulation? Yup, he's got that. High-tech stuff? Oh, would you look at that, he's got that too. Telepathy? Man, do I got some news for you. He's got that as well. Point is, they could really get creative with him. Honestly, I really just want him in the spotlight again. He's such a unique villain with such a cool design. I just love him. His main attack would be he can turn his arm into a gun. His main ability could be he shifts his arm into different weapons. And then his ultimate could be size manipulation, where he goes really, really big. And then just becomes kind of like a brute character for a few seconds. Assuming they don't add Ant-Man. I know that's kind of Ant-Man's thing too. But I like Apocalypse more. Anyway, I know Magneto's in the game already, so I don't know if they're going to go with 2 big X-Men villains. But he'd be a really cool one to have. This is just a small thing I want to tag on to the end of this. But it's the idea of having certain Marvel characters be announcers. Currently, it looks like Galacta is going to be the game's main announcer, but it'd be cool to get some alternate announcers depending on something like maybe an in-game event or an unlockable. Since this game's concept is practically Secret Wars, why not add the Beyonder as an announcer? He'd work perfectly and he could have some fun dialogue. Or the Grandmaster, for the same thing. That being said, those 2 picks are just afterthoughts I just had. The main reason I want alternate announcers is so we could somehow get Mojo in the game. He is genuinely the only reason I'm bringing this up. I just think Mojo is a fun X-Men villain, and this type of thing is right up his alley. Let me help you see the vision, right? Now imagine if this game somehow lives long enough to get a decent competitive scene, and it gets to a point where there are esports tournaments. Boring, right? But now imagine if they get a voice actor to basically play Mojo and have him host the event like if it was a Mojo World TV show. I normally dislike any non-fighting game esports events, but I would love it. Imagine having a Mojo VTuber as your commentator. Now, would this ever happen? No, there's a 0% chance Marvel executives would let that happen because they hate fun. That being said, Mojo is also a grotesque abomination of a villain, so I don't entirely blame them. But they're cowards, and they hate fun. Anyways, I'm excited to see what Marvel Rivals shapes up to be. Will it be interesting? Will it die after 6 months? Who knows? Anyway, I hope you all enjoy this. I've got a few more videos cooking alongside this one, so expect those in the near future. I'm wanting to try and be more consistent with content from now on, whether it be videos, streams, clips, any of that. Anyway, I hope you all have a good rest of your day, and don't forget, if Marvel HQ wasn't full of cowards, we'd get my boy Glob Herman in this game.